So if you've spent any time at all on the internet talking about dating, you've definitely heard the term high value, right? It's everywhere. But what does it even mean? Honestly, it seems to create more stress than anything else. So in this explainer, we're going to decode what people think high value means, and then we're going to uncover a psychological framework that gives us a much healthier and frankly a much more realistic path to connection. Let's get into it. Okay, so what is this high value thing everyone is so obsessed with? It's supposed to be, a straightforward way to measure if someone is a desirable partner. But the definition totally changes depending on who you ask, and that's where all the confusion really begins. You see, in certain corners of the internet, especially within what's called the red pill community, the definition gets super, super narrow. As one person put it, summarizing that view, it all just boils down to two things: how much money you make and how good you look. It's treated like this cold, hard checklist. But what's really interesting is that in that same online discussion, people immediately started pushing back. They were like, hold on a second. What actually makes someone a great partner for the long haul has nothing to do with that list. They started pointing to things like being trustworthy, reliable, and honest. And right away, you see this massive gap between the online theory and what people actually want in real life. To really get what's going on in that gap, we've got to look deeper than these surface-level checklists. The truth is, the way we connect with other people isn't random. Not at all. It follows this kind of hidden pattern, a psychological blueprint that's been with us since we were kids. In psychology, this is called our internal working model. The best way to think about it is like a set of invisible rules, a script you carry around in your head for every relationship you enter. It's been shaped by your past, and it's constantly, quietly telling you what you can expect from other people and, maybe more importantly, what kind of love you think you deserve. So where does this whole script come from? Well, attachment theory tells us that our very first bonds, the ones we had with our parents or caregivers, created the original template. The little strategies we used to get love and attention when we were children often become the exact same patterns we unconsciously play out in our romantic lives as adults. Kind of wild, right? So these internal models, these blueprints, they tend to result in four main styles of connecting with others in adulthood. And seeing these can be a really powerful aha moment for understanding your own relationship default setting. Okay, so this chart breaks it all down pretty simply. The four styles are basically based on two things: how you see yourself, positively or negatively, and how you generally see other people. So if you have a positive view of yourself and others, you're likely what's called secure. If you feel good about yourself but are a little wary of others, that points to dismissive avoidant. A negative view of yourself but a positive view of others often leads to an anxious preoccupied style. And finally, if you have a negative view of both yourself and other people, that's known as fearful avoidant. Now, look, the point here is not to label yourself or put yourself in a box. It's actually the opposite. It's about freedom. Just recognizing your default tendency, your go-to pattern, is the first and most powerful step toward understanding why you act the way you do in relationships and what you truly need to feel safe and happy. All right, so once you have that self-awareness, what do you do with it? I mean, knowledge is great, but you need a practical tool to actually use it. And when it comes to building healthy relationships, arguably the most powerful tool in the entire toolbox is the boundary. A boundary isn't a wall you build to keep people out. It's more like a guideline you create to protect your own peace and well-being. It's about teaching people how you want to be treated, which is the foundation for any kind of mutual respect. And boundaries pop up everywhere. You've got emotional boundaries, which are all about how much you share and how quickly. Someone with an anxious style might struggle here, wanting to overshare to feel close fast. Then there are physical boundaries around your personal space and touch. A dismissive, avoidant person might use these to keep people at arm's length. And of course, today, digital and social boundaries are absolutely critical for protecting your energy and your private life. And here's the good news. This is a skill. Anyone can learn it. It starts with just a little self-reflection. What are your non-negotiables? What do you absolutely need? Next, you have to communicate that clearly using I statements, like I feel anxious when, instead of you always make me. And finally, you have to be willing to assertively but kindly hold that line if someone tests it. Okay, so let's put it all together now. When you combine this deeper understanding of your own attachment style with the practical skill of setting boundaries, you can literally shift your entire approach to dating. You move away from this exhausting game of proving your value and toward building a real, secure connection. It really boils down to this simple formula. Self-awareness, that's knowing your attachment blueprint, tells you what you need, And self-respect, which is what you're doing when you set a boundary, is how you make sure you get it. And when you put those two things together, boom, you have the foundation for a genuinely strong, secure relationship. And I mean, when you look at the outcomes side by side, the difference is just night and day. The high value checklist approach, with its focus on money and looks, just creates constant anxiety and competition. It's so unstable. But the secure attachment approach, that's all about mutual understanding. It builds real trust and intimacy. It creates a relationship that's not just satisfying, but resilient enough to handle real life. And the payoff for doing this kind of inner work, it's huge. When you start setting boundaries, you're basically practicing self-respect, which naturally boosts your self-esteem. It builds deep, lasting trust. It fosters genuine mutual respect, and it prevents that slow, quiet poison of resentment and burnout that can destroy a relationship from the inside out. So, this all brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. This is about completely reframing the entire goal of dating in the first place. Here's the bottom line. Healthy, lasting love, it isn't built on you frantically trying to prove you're worthy based on some external checklist. No, it's built slowly, moment by moment, through the practice of genuine understanding. First, understanding yourself, and then understanding your partner. So I'm just going to leave you with this thought. Instead of getting caught in that trap asking, am I high value enough? What if we started asking a much better question, a much more powerful question? How do I want to connect? And how can I build that kind of connection with respect for myself and for them? That one simple shift, that could change everything.